All right. So, hey, Made to Thrive. Hey, it's Lauren. And Lauren, we made it simple. We have the same name. So, I know that you guys love our Tuesday night calls, but honestly, you guys know this phase of life is a little bit kooky for me. And when meetings pop up for soccer teams and I'm supposed to be there, that means that my speaker and I get together and we pre-record the call for you guys so that you can access it whenever during the day. So, last week we talked about, we were on with Stephanie and we talked about the month of November and this team spirit challenge and the core to force and just being focused on your goals and not having shiny objects get in your way. And this week, I'd asked Lauren to speak, and honestly, she just has a great story in and of itself, but there's one part of her story that really popped into my head. And Lauren became a coach, was it 2013? Yeah. And the first time I met her, I was being recognized for top 10. And she was like this elite coach who had been a coach for like 7, 8 months. And she hit elite in that time. She became a coach and hit elite that same year. And I was like, holy crap, this girl's amazing. And she's pushing a baby stroller. So I was like, all right, there in and of itself, you get my vote for awesomeness because you have a newborn, you hit elite, and you did it in less than a year. So her story popped into my head for that reason, because I wanted you to see what it took here and here and here for her to make that happen. But as we were sitting here talking, Lauren and I have been talking for a couple minutes, we started to think about how every phase of life has its own challenges. And with everything that you do, you've got to, she said it, recreate your day. If you've got something that has to happen, what do you have to shuffle? What activities do you have to switch around? What things do you have to be really proactive about with yourself and with your activities in order to make your goals happen? And Lauren says some really cool things about minding your marriage more than your business. Super important. Being a mom over being a CEO, super important because we have that freedom. But then also, when you're talking to people, letting them know, hey, you are super important to me. I am really excited to chat with you. But right now, I've got to go to soccer. Or right now, I've got to go to the orthodontist. And not to say that I don't have time to talk to you, but hey, can we talk later? Or can we talk tomorrow? And Lauren and I are the same on this because I was like, oh my gosh, I have a message in my inbox. I have got to click on it right now. I've got to answer it right now. No. Because if I'm doing that in the moment when I'm supposed to be with my family, I'm giving them half of myself, but I'm also giving that person just a snippet of myself too. I don't want to be that way. I want to be completely focused on my family when I'm supposed to be present. I don't want to be completely focused on my business when it's business hours. And so, I wanted Lauren to just talk to you guys about what it took for her to go from brand new coach to elite coach. And then how has that changed? What activities has she had to really be focused on in order to continue to be successful? So go for it. All the way from Austin, Texas.
You just want me to share kind of like my first year?
What?
Just like my first, like from how I started as a coach?
Yeah, like what kind of mindset did you have to have? Because you guys, we all have big goals this year. And if you've reached them, if you haven't, what did you have to do in order to reach those goals? If you haven't reached them, what do you have to do in these next 6 weeks? 6? 7? 7th. We're close to 6 weeks. What do you have to do in the next couple of weeks in order to achieve those goals that maybe you voiced at the beginning of the year? So that's what I'm saying.
So basically for me, the way that this went down is I became a coach in February, and I really honestly did it because I was just in a really, really bad spot. I'm not going to spend all day like telling you guys my story and my backstory but the basics of it is that I went from like being this like super happy, successful, independent, jet-setting woman to getting married and slowly like having a decline. And it was, my husband was a professional ball player and we had great finances and all of this stuff. And just one thing after another led to some not so great things. And right before I became a coach, I had done Insanity before, and I knew this, and I had a friend who kind of watched this decline of my happiness and my bubbly self kind of went away. I had my second baby, and 2 weeks later, our house caught on fire, and it was just like one thing after another. And we didn't have renter's insurance and all kinds of things like piled on top of us at once. And we kind of hit that, what everybody calls like rock bottom moment. And just so happens that my coach saw that, and she literally asked me every month, no joking, since the day she became a coach, to be a coach and to be a part of her challenge groups. And I was like, nope, not happening. Well, she reached out just at the right time, and she was like, I know that this is really probably not the best time for this. And I know you've always said no, but I really think you just need something for yourself to focus on and to take your mind off of all the things that are going on. I'm not asking you to be a coach. I'm just saying, why don't you do this with me? I know you can't work out. I know you want to lose the baby weight. I know you just need something to make you feel happier, to help you sleep better, to kind of relieve some stress. Why don't you do the reset with me? Well, if you know my story, we had zero money, you guys, like nothing. And I had literally prayed for it, like for a sign, 2 hours before she reached out. And I was like, okay, I hear you. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, but we're going to make it happen. And so that mindset switched, because I knew that I was in the right place at the right time, and that this was something that I had prayed for. So I knew nothing about coaching. I traded gift cards, and I cleaned houses, and I bartered for like whatever I could to get that $300 to buy a challenge pack, because I literally could not afford it. And I didn't tell my husband because I knew he would say no. And it was kind of like, okay, let me learn more about this. And when it showed up at my doorstep, I remember that moment. And I feel like this is important for me to tell you, because it's so much of the person I am today and what I still bring myself back to 3.5, almost 4 years later. And I remember when we got that challenge pack, we were living on the couch at my dad's house, and Val was like sleeping in the extra bedroom with Quinn, and I was on the couch with Audrey because she was colicky. It was the middle of February, and he was like, what the heck is that, and how did you pay for it? And I told him, and he was like, okay, well, if you're gonna do this, you better do it right. And I just remember breaking down and explaining, for those of you that don't know, Brandy Botts is my coach, and Brandy was the first person that I'd seen in a network marketing business where I knew her personally and I trusted her. So I felt like, okay, I've seen her progression, and she at the time had been a coach for a year and was making $2,000 a week. And I was like, oh my gosh, can you even imagine what $800, and I'm going to cry because I literally cried when I told my husband this. I was like, can you even imagine what $800 a month would do for our family, let alone a week? Like, I'm not saying I can do that, but if I can make that my goal, then heck yeah, I'm going to try and do it. And so he was like, well, go for it, do it. And I said, okay. And at the time, Mindy Wender was kind of the person that Brandy she was kind of her coach, and she was doing all the trainings, and Mindy's like phrase was be here in 1 year. And so I knew that it was important, because Val really didn't support what I was doing. He just was kind of like, sure, babe, good luck, do it right. Was you've got to give me 1 year. And if our life is not better and has not changed in some way, shape, or form, or if I have not financially contributed to our family in 1 year, then I'll quit. But right now, I really need you to just let me have this 1 year to do whatever the heck it is that they say I have to do to get to where Brandy is, because that was like my benchmark. So I think it's important for you to set a benchmark for yourself. And I'm not saying you can't like dream super big, but at the time, like I knew Mindy was way beyond where Brandy was, but Mindy wasn't my goal. Brandy was my goal, because I felt like that was more obtainable for me. And I knew eventually I wanted to get there to where Mindy was. Heck yeah, someday that would be amazing. But right now, I needed something that for me was attainable and somebody that I could watch and kind of follow. So my first advice would be to follow your next ladder rung. Like follow people that are in your next ladder rung. Don't follow somebody. If you're a brand new coach, you should not really be following like Janelle Summers, or, you want to be following people that are diamond and star diamond coaches, because the way that they post and the way that they're doing things is going to be more relevant to what you're doing. You're going to be new to sharing your story, and so are these people. Not saying that those coaches that are 15-star diamonds and executive leaders or beyond aren't still sharing their story. They are. They're just doing it in a different way. So and I always tell my coaches, follow your next ladder rung, follow that next step where you want to be. Brandy at the time was, I think, like a 2-star or 3-star diamond. And she was an elite coach because at the time you only had to be a 2-star to be elite. So she had made it and was a 3-star like diamond. She was making great money. So I was like, I could do that. I could totally do that. But she told me your first step is you got to go emerald. And I literally just asked her, what are my first steps? I don't want the big ones, but like, just tell me what's the very first one. So that's what I focused on. And that's like, the first thing that I would tell you is get your mindset into what's that next step to where you need to be. Great to have a big vision goal, but what's the next step? So that was what I did. And I'll be honest with you, I was like that mama that was walking around. I had a brand new baby, you guys. She was like literally about 2 months old by the time I decided to sign up as a coach. And it was about, there is no way when you have a newborn and a 4-year-old at home to kind of have business hours, so to say, because there really is no controlling a newborn and when she's going to wake up or when she's hungry or when she's crying or any of that. So I picked times instead of saying like, so from 2 to 3, I'm going to do this. It was more or less like, okay, so when I'm driving or I'm washing dishes, I'm going to have one headphone in and I'm going to be listening to like that national wake up call, or I'm going to be listening to the team call that was recorded that I couldn't get on because I was busy putting the kids to bed. But I never ever missed a call or a recording. I just always had that one headphone in. And then I said, okay, so if Audrey is asleep, and I know that she generally will fall asleep for about 45 minutes to an hour at a time. So that first hour that she falls asleep is when I'm going to do all my friending and all of my this. So I knew what I was going to do at which points in time throughout the day. And I prioritized them by which was important.
Do you feel like you kind of did a modified power hour throughout the day? It sounds like it. It's just like, 45 minutes here, so I'm going to do this. That's smart because so many people say, I don't know, I don't have time to run this business. And it's just like, it doesn't have to be one solid block. And that's such a great, sorry, I had to break in. It's such a great example.
Yes. And that's actually how I teach my new coaches coming in that work full-time jobs is I tell them, you don't have to have a full hour. It could be like a power half hour, or you could have 4 15-minute blocks of what you're doing and when, but you have to know what the most important things are and you have to get those done first. And that honestly, the most important thing is not responding to your messages first, because I feel like what most people do is they go straight to their inbox and they start feeding on the conversations that they already started without starting new ones. So what I always did was the way that I did mine and the way that I teach my newest coaches is pick the thing that you have the hardest time doing and do it first. So for most people, that's starting those new conversations, and myself included. So the very first thing that I would do in that 15-minute block was I would pick like 10 people and go for it. Now, as my years have gone by, I actually don't do that every day, but I have a number that I need to achieve every week. So I make sure that I batch out those new conversation starters, and I know my limit. I know what my magic number is of how I can keep up, because if you're trying to start 70 conversations in one day and you've got 20 some or 30 some messages in your inbox the next day and you're like, whoa, I can't do it, then know your magic number. So if your magic number is 10, then start, and you know that you need to have 50 conversations a week, then you're doing 10 conversations 5 days a week and you're trying to catch up. So, but that's personal and that depends on your goals. So those were super important to me. Now, as time went on, I reached Emerald, and then I almost quit because I was like, Brandy, I don't know what I signed up for, but this ain't it because I'm totally overwhelmed. And she was pushing me to go Diamond, and I was like, I can't do it. And she's like, okay, let's hold off and rewind. What is it that you're feeling overwhelmed with? And she made me write out my day and the things that I was feeling overwhelmed by. And she said, okay, you don't really need to be doing that every day. Or, she just helped me to recreate what my ideal day looked like. And that includes, you guys, being a mom. So what I teach my coaches now and what I've learned over time is you need to have what I call a mom statement. And that is your mission statement, but it also includes your motherhood and your business and how those things like work together. So knowing what your priorities are as a mom and as a businesswoman, and what those activities look like to be able to make both of those things happen in order of priority. So if you don't have one, sit down, brainstorm out your ideas of what you want to have as a mother, your ideal day as a mother and your ideal day as a business person. And then you have to write out that statement and then break it down into like, what are the activities that need to happen to make that your reality? And then you can kind of sift through those things and prioritize those things in order of, my magic number is 4, because there's really like 4 priorities that I can handle every day in both categories and do it well and have it balanced. So knowing what those things are, and those other things at the bottom, they can wait until the next day. Maybe it is like you're trying to create some pretty fancy image for your Facebook cover page. That can probably wait. So know that that's not your priority for the day. And though that's what I mean, is knowing what your like top big priorities are. I did Shalene's like 30-day challenge when I was a brand new coach, which really helped me out with this because I had never planned or scheduled or anything like that ever. And so it was really good for me as a new coach to go in and do her 30-day push challenge. They just emailed me something every day that helped me learn these things. So I eventually got Diamond, and then I went to Star Diamond before Summit, and it was like at Summit, they were like, hey, you should really think about being elite. And I was like, what is that? I don't know what that is. I just know that it's a title Brandy has, but probably not something that I thought I was capable of doing. And they were like, oh, no, you are. You have 80 elite points and it's only halfway through the year. You can do this. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, tell me how. And they said, well, you need to be 5-star diamond. And I laughed. I was like, yeah, right. By when? By like November? And they were like, yeah, that's what you need to do. So I was like, let's do this. But it meant minding my marriage before my business and having that conversation with my husband and saying, here's what they want me to do. And it was involving him in my business, whether he supported me or not. It was letting him know like, hey, this is what it's going to take. This is what they've said it's going to take. And that means like, I might need your help to put the kids in bed an extra night, or I might need you to help me with X, Y, and Z so that I can do this. And he was okay with it. Maybe didn't love it, but once the paycheck started getting a little bit bigger, he was like, okay, what is this she's doing? And he started paying more attention. But it was really tough, I'm not going to lie. And it was, as Audrey was getting a little bit older, it was learning to readjust. So I have this book, and I don't have it right in front of me, but it was like the Mom Inc., I think is what it was called. But it went through and it explained to me what I could expect as being like a mom entrepreneur, like a mother and an entrepreneur at each stage of my like child's life. And so it was like, if you have a baby between 0 and 3 months old, you can expect that this is going to happen and X, Y, and Z. So that was really helpful in knowing that, okay, as Audrey got a little bit older, her naps weren't going to be so sporadic anymore. They were going to be 2 planned ones. So now I had to readjust and reevaluate. And it was always about readjusting and reevaluating that like mom statement according to their age, and it's still happening now. Like as she's getting older and she is getting into, now she's in preschool a couple of days a week because she needed that interaction. She's 4 and, or she's about ready to turn 4. And we put her in there. And now I know that I have days like this where the house is quiet and it's peaceful and I can agree to do team calls and I can say I can do these things, but I had to say at night, they are my priority. So I'm only allowed to do one. I'm only allowing myself to do 1 team call a week. And that's it, whether it be mine or somebody else's. And I have to mind that and stick to it. But it also means prioritizing my activities as a mom and knowing that I don't allow myself to touch my phone anymore in the morning before my workout is done, my personal development is done, and my kids are out the door and they're gone. Because I personally know I can't wake up. I snooze for an hour. I've tried it a million times. It doesn't work for me. But for somebody else, if you know that you don't have that time during the day, it means that you've got to train yourself to get up that extra hour before your kids get up to do that work or to do your workout or to do whatever it is that you feel is most important. So that was really, really helpful. And then personal development was, I know it sounds like I'm saying all the things that they always tell us, but it's totally true, because as I started to push for Elite, one of the things that happened is my husband was asked to pick up and move to a new state. So in September, we moved away from everything and everyone that I knew. I had tons of help and support from my mom and my family, and, just people around me. I was doing fit clubs in my driveway, selling challenge packs like crazy because people I knew were showing up to fit clubs. And my husband was like, yeah, what do you think about moving to Austin? And I was like, oh, hell no, we are not going there. I'm not moving to Texas. But we evaluated, and at the state things were in, like, I was doing okay money-wise with this business, but we knew that financially it made sense for our family to go. And it was an opportunity that he could not turn down. So we picked everything up and we moved. And I moved to this place where I went back to like instant depression because I didn't have friends around. I didn't have my family. I had zero help. We knew absolutely no one. And it was almost like Facebook and my business became my connection point to all of my friends and family that I was missing so much. And I was sharing what I was doing with my life here in Texas with them, but also with my business. And it was a new learning curve that life throws crap at you that you don't expect, but you have to stop, reevaluate, reprioritize, and work on those things. So for me, I knew that my personal development kind of had to shift from leadership to making myself happy again. It was finding things that made me feel good about myself, because I needed that for me. I can't help other people and be this happy, positive person for other people if I'm trying to, develop myself on the wrong things at the wrong time. So I had to shift that a little bit. Once we moved here, I think because of that change, I had created all 5 of my diamonds. And I was now only working for a couple more elite points. And what happened is at the beginning of November, for those of you guys that know, you have to qualify for elite, or go into 5-star qualifying status and, elite status. I hadn't actually become an official 5-star diamond. So I had to hold that. Well, I lost all of my diamonds, every last one of them, in the first week of November. And I was like, there is no flipping way that this is going to happen. Like, I'm sorry, but I just don't see how this is possible. And I was like, I'm still going to try, but I was like almost talking myself out of it. And I found someone that had been working with me. And he was like, stop talking yourself out of it. You need to learn to visualize this as if it's happened. You need to start talking to your coaches as if it's possible for them, not trying to convince them that it's not. You have to be in this mindset, like you are already a 5-star diamond elite coach, and you need to believe that in yourself and believe it in your coaches, because if you believe it in yourself, then they will believe it in you, and they're going to be more excited to do this with you. And don't make it a journey that you're doing with them, not like you're trying to have them do it for something that you want. And so really it came down to learning how to visualize. And that's something that I kind of had never done before, ever. And I still struggle with it at times. I struggle with visualizing things when they seem to get difficult, but I have to stop and really let myself just believe that I can do this. And then I sit down after I've believed that it's happened, and I take out all the fluff that I was doing. And I really zoned in on focusing what it was that I had to do to help them hit their goals as well as help me. So I knew that I needed to continually be growing my business. So that meant stripping it back to just the basics. And a lot of those leadership things that I was doing, because I felt like I needed to, being in my team page all the time and focusing on checking into my challenge groups a bazillion times a day, that was actually a waste of my time. I still checked in once a day instead, and I focused on having more conversations. I focused on making a tracking system for my back office and knowing whose orders were shipping when, and which coaches do I need to check in with today. I made sure that I made a system for like helping my coaches learn how to do this for themselves so that I wasn't doing it for them, and teaching them like the time management things and letting them see how to strip away the fluff, and to really focus on the basics that was going to help them grow their business. And that was teaching other people time management and teaching other people how to, get out there and start conversations and, just kind of eventually evolve this system that is still working for us today. So it literally, you guys, came down to, I was on this time, Central Time. So it was like 10:57 p.m. And I had a coach that had signed somebody up, and for whatever reason, my back office switched her from one leg to the other. And I was like, freaking out. So I called my corporate person, and they ended up getting it switched back for me literally at like the last minute. And it was like, okay, you hit qualifications on the last minute. And then there's that waiting period where you're like freaking out. Like, is this going to happen? Is it going to happen? But we just made it fun. And we made it like a team effort where we all wanted to do this together. All my girls wanted to hold their diamond, and they were really focused on doing it. We had like dance parties, like while we Zoomed and checked our back office, and like just silly things. And we made it a real fun experience to do together. And it happened. And that's literally kind of how it's been the last 3 years, because I've been elite every year. And still it gets harder and harder every year as you have to like top your ATV and develop new diamonds and things like that. But it really comes down to those key points, which is putting yourself first, making sure that the activities, you don't ever change the goal. You change the activities in which you're doing to hit the goal. If what you're doing isn't working, don't change your goal. Don't sell yourself short. Just reevaluate what it is that you're doing and change the order of the activities, and put the things that matter most first. And once you do those and you remember to take the time to do things for yourself, then, if you're happy and you're feeling the balance and you're showing people, like Lauren said, that you respect your time, they're going to respect you. And they're also going to feel like, well, if she can do it, then I could probably do it too. I just need her to teach me how. And that helps people feel more confident to become coaches. They feel more confident in getting their workouts done, in just their everyday life. So really that's what I've got. Like, I just ask yourself, how are you showing up, and are you doing what you love, or are you forcing yourself?
Yes. And something else we talked about, because Lauren gave you her story of like that first year and what it looked like, and they moved in the middle, and I was laughing because we moved in the middle of 2013 of that first year. The first time you hit elite was the first time I hit elite. And I remember at Summit, I was a 2-star qualifying coach. And I got to go to leadership because the last people who got to register were the 2 stars and who weren't elite. So I remember my hands were shaking. There were so many things I wanted to do, and I knew we had to be a 2-star team in order to go. And you could take a coach at that time. So I got to take one of my cute little coaches, and I was blown away at these opportunities that kept coming up. And it was just like you had to march through the whole year. And I think the same person who told you to visualize told me to visualize. And I'm not a visualization person. And it took being able to sit down, and he was like, I want you to visualize what this will mean for your family. I want you to visualize what it will look like, what it will smell like, what it will taste like. What are you wearing when you go on that vacation? What are you packing? What are you seeing? Where are you sitting? I mean, down to the littlest detail. And I was like, you're crazy. But I started to do it, and I started to get so in touch with what I really, really wanted to experience for my family, and I was like, I am willing to work for this. But a little bit different was where Lauren was going for elite. I had been a coach for 6 months, and I had someone telling me you can be top 10. And so I didn't balance my family time well because I became so hyper uber focused on that one goal that I was working all the time. I had to make up for that after. I really had to fight to get that time back with my family. So listen to what Lauren said. And I actually put the link to Mom Inc. in the chat. I don't know if it records, but the book is called Mom Inc., The Essential Guide to Running a Successful Business from Home. And it's like a blue cover, and it looks like it has a clipboard or notebook. And it's on Amazon. So if you're interested in that, that's the book she referenced. I love things like that. They give you practical, applicable steps and just say you can be both. You can be mom and you can be CEO, and you don't have to sacrifice one to be the other.
No, real quick, Lauren, if you guys do get that book, what I want you to realize is that you do not have to do everything in the book that they are talking about. You don't have to be a blogger if you're not a blogger. That's the fortunate thing about our business. But what I do love is the time management that they teach you and the practical information that they give you about creating a budget for your business and things like that. But you don't have to do everything. You just have to take the parts of that book that suit you and what you want to do with your business. So I just don't want people
that's really good. No,
follow this exactly what she says, because you don't.
Right. That's going to be back to that. Well, I can't do that, so I'm just going to shut down. I'm going to give up. No one said you had to do this to be successful. Everybody's different. But the last thing I wanted to kind of share with you guys is Lauren and I are having a conversation, and that this year has looked very different, where we've had to both take steps back for our family. And as people who go for goals and want to be successful, and that's been hard for me. And Lauren and I have talked about that. The things haven't gone as planned, but we're doing this because it's important. You guys all know Chris is gone. And I made that commitment to my family when he left, and I said, I want to be present for my kids because we have worked hard to get to this point, and that's what we're able to do. This business, like Lauren said, affords us so many opportunities to be both, to be present, to be in the carpool line, to be at soccer, to be the one dropping the kids off, to be the one. My daughter's messaging me saying she doesn't feel well and she has hurdle practice, and so I'm like, do you have water? Do you have a snack? Can you get some? I wouldn't be able to do that, and I could run up there and help her, but she's almost 16 and she reminds me of that daily. So I'm going to let her work this one out. But that's what it looks like for us. And like she said, elite is a goal. It's very difficult. It's going to be even more difficult this year because you have to make those decisions to do what's best for your family. And I want you guys, like she said, I want you guys to set goals for yourself. When corporate came to me, and I'm sure to you, and told you, you can do this, it sounded so shiny and bright and sounded amazing. But do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else. Don't hit a goal to be someone else's check mark. Don't hit a goal because you think it's going to make somebody else happy. But if you seriously have a goal for your business, for your family, for your future, you guys hold on to that. Definitely make sure that is a priority for you, and that you celebrate the crap out of that because you worked hard for it for you, and share that journey with people. Because like she said, we moved from California in the middle of the year as a 2-star. Like, we went to Summit with our car completely packed. We were the Clampetts. And when you opened our door at the hotel, like, balls fell out and suitcases, and I'm sure we had some things we didn't want people to see falling out of our car because we were living out of our car. It took us weeks to get across the country because we had camp, we had family, and then we showed up and our house needed work, like new floors. I was sanding the banister with headphones on, having one-on-one coaching calls because I was working on making this house a home for my family, but I wasn't about to compromise. I could do that and run this business. So I didn't have to give up one or the other. I'm painting the walls and I'm on call, or I'm listening to a book, or I'm whatever. I'm listening to personal development. But like she said, my focus in personal development also shifted because I needed to find my happy. I didn't need someone telling me how to time manage, blah, 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 blah. I needed to have some Jesus in my ears, and I needed to have some happiness and some encouragement and some motivation. And so that's how that had to change. So the goal didn't change, the activities did, and the behaviors that needed to happen to get there. So I want you guys to see that just because one road doesn't work the way you think it is, there's another road. There's another path. Your goal doesn't change. There are many ways to get there. You just have to find the right one. Be willing to be malleable. You know, metal is malleable, means you can change it, you can form it. Be willing to be flexible. Be willing to change. Be willing to follow these steps. I love it. I wrote all of them down. I'll write them underneath the post. Step 1, Lauren said, was follow your next ladder rung. Like, if you're a brand new coach, you're not going to be following a superstar diamond coach. You need to follow the next person. As a brand new coach, I was looking at those diamonds because I wanted that diamond-shaped paperweight that my coach was giving away that I could probably get for $5 at Hobby Lobby. I didn't care. I wanted the damn paperweight because I wanted to be a diamond. I wanted to be recognized. Number 2, break it up. Your power hour doesn't have to be all in 1 hour. You can be throughout the day. Be flexible. Number 3, do not, and I love this, don't go to your inbox first. You guys know what you have to do in order to keep growing. And that doesn't mean having the same conversations with the same people you've been having for 3 weeks. Even if you need to put a sticky tab right there, put things to hide it from you. I'm a visual person and I'm shiny squirrel. Like if I can, ooh, wait, look at that. And I am totally down a rabbit trail. I know I'm ADD. I'm getting help. 4, write out your day. And every day is going to be different. And I love this. I do this. I get a notebook. Hello. I have multiple. I have 3 sitting right here. That's really sad. And I will write out what I have to do that day. Like I know that today I need to buffer and schedule some posts. I've got to do that to make our Core to Force group a success. I've also got to finish inviting everybody to the app. I've also got to check in with the people I listed out. And I've got to get a certain video on YouTube. Like those are silly little things, but those things need to happen because I promised people I'd do it. Like my word is really kind of important to me. And like she said, if you can't do it today, just say, I'm going to get to it tomorrow, and let them know your time is important and you have priorities and you will get to them and you see them. But right now you've got to do this. All right. I loved making a mom mission statement. So cool. It's like having a mom why. And number 5, organize your day, which is kind of like right after your day because I really like that one because I wrote it twice. And then your personal development. You got to make a connection. You've got to share the business, the life. You've got to share all of that stuff with everybody and find your happy and be able to adjust. And so I wrote down also that you did, if blank is going to happen, then blank has to happen. So same thing at the end of this year, and we've gone a little bit over time. Sorry, but we're so awesome and you just can't stop looking. Such great information. If you're going to hit whatever goal it is that you have for this year, if you are going to take your family to Disney, if you are going to pay off that car, I don't know what those specific things are. What has to happen? What has to change? What do you have to do? And so I love that Lauren did it. You know, she looked at it, someone encouraged her, someone told her what was possible, and she said, she went and she asked for support from the person closest to her husband and said, this is what is going to have to happen in order for me to hit this goal. I'm going to ask you for a little bit of help. You guys are a team. If you have a spouse, you guys are a team, and this benefits both of you. So this should be a partnership. I had to do this with Chris. He knows this business is important to me. He knows that this is my thing. He has his thing, and we have our thing. I don't like his thing right now. That's a whole nother conversation. And I told him that yesterday. Stick it. But anyway.
One of the things that I forgot to mention to you guys is that, especially if you're like, maybe you're a brand new coach, maybe you're in your first year and your first year of actually trying to like make this a business. When I first started this, yes, I had like these financial goals and I wanted to make those happen. But in my first few weeks, I was really just focused on me and making sure that I learned certain things about the business. And so I happened to listen to a call that was, turns out, it was like from the year before, where Mindy was talking about how you could earn this awesome trip to Disney. Seriously, we had never taken a family vacation before, ever. And she was explaining how you made that happen. And I was like, oh, all I have to do every month is get 2, maybe 3 people to like buy one of these challenge pack things. And then I can do this. Cause keep in mind, I didn't have any experience or knowledge of Beachbody at all, except for that I had done Insanity. And I was like, sweet, I'm taking my family to Disney. Like literally that's what I was working for. I was like, that's what I need to do. Every single month, I just need to get 3 people to do this with me. And then Brandy put me on her like team cup thing and she earned like 30 Success Club points. And I was like, here I am barely making 5. And that was like a pusher for me to be like, oh, I've got to like show up. I've got to do better. I've got to do better than 5. And oh, wait, if I do better than 5, then I get to earn like some cash to go with me on this trip. Or so I learned these things, and that is really what I was working for. And I never even knew that because I didn't do my research very well. I didn't know that there was a list or that it was actually a cruise or any of that stuff. And I happened to register for it in October, you guys, and there was a wait list that was super long. I registered in October and I was like, oh, it's a cruise. It's not Disney. That's a bummer. But still, I can take my husband on a trip. Like, how awesome is that? And so that was kind of what we were pushing for. So like Lauren said, no matter what your goal is, just, see the goal, figure out like the activity that needed to happen was that I needed to hit Success Club 5. But in order to hit Success Club 5, what needed to happen over here for me to make that happen? What are those 3 or 4 activities every day that I had to do to make that happen? Forget about all the rest, because that really doesn't matter. It does, but to a point, these are the things that have to happen first in order to make that goal happen. So then you have more time to do all of those other shiny, sparkly things. Like Lauren said, I'm the same as her. I'm like, I see that and I'm like, ooh, there's that. And before I know it, I never even answered the message that I was trying to send, or send the message that I was trying to in the first place. And I was like, oh crap, in my mind, I sent you that.
Exactly. Yeah. Did I not send that? I never sent that. I swear I wrote it. Oh, it's funny because I've been a coach for probably 4 months. So this was back when, if you hit Success Club, or if you hit Diamond before 90 days and you hit Success Club 6 months, you earned the Success Club trip. They've done away with that because I guess a lot of people were doing it, or they've made it a little bit more competitive. And still, it seems like a lot of people still get to go on the Success Club trip. They make it happen because it's important. I didn't know about this trip. I didn't know about Disney. I didn't know about fast starters, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know anything. I just knew that my coach had said, hit Success Club. And I followed people on my next rung who were inspiring me. And I was excited because I loved interacting with them. I loved learning from them. I asked them questions. I said, can I just be a fly on the wall in your challenge group? I just want to see how you do things differently than I do. There's nothing wrong with asking. We're not here to be just me against you versus you. In fact, Lauren and I are on totally different teams, and we're the best of friends, and we share anything. She comes to me. I don't have as many resources as her, but I will share anything with her, and she's always shared with us. And she's sharing her time right now, and she's got to go soon. I do too. But it was funny because I got this email, and I hit Success Club. Granted, I signed up in June, so I had to hit Success Club every month. I didn't know that. So December rolled around and they said, you earned a trip to Disney. And I was like, how? What did I do? And they told me that I had cash. Like she said, I had cash because I'd hit Success Club 5 or more every month. And I grew my business. And I was a 1-star diamond because one of my coaches had gone diamond. And I was working on 2-star. I was just doing the basics. I was following the roadmap. I was doing exactly the plan that had been set before me. I didn't have big goals. But when my husband said, we're moving to Florida, and I said, oh my gosh, we could go house hunting right after I take you to Disney, and it'll be just us. Because that was the first time I was able to do that for us. It was the best feeling, like Lauren said, to be able to say, I'm taking my family, I'm taking my husband, I earned this. And they gave us a card. We couldn't use all the money on the card because it was all Disney cash or whatever. And there's Leandro in his little skinny bikini thingy, and people are building human pyramids, and we're walking around having the best time, and there's fireworks, and they gave us 3D glasses, and it's the symbol of Beachbody in the sky, and you're having a Pixar party, and you're just like, what in the world is going on? And it was just from doing the basics. And you'll be so surprised the doors that open and the things that you get to experience and the growth in yourself and just the joy of being able to share that with the ones that you love the most while changing lives, while sharing this opportunity with others. And so I want you to get the heart of it, but I also want you to hear Lauren's story and the very real steps. And I just love it. I'm going to call this Get Real. Like, get real and be willing to recreate things. Not the wheel, but recreate the way that you look at things and the way you approach situations, because the ultimate destination is your goal. And there's no one-way street. There's a detour. There's a hill. There's a valley. I don't know. You might have to take a bicycle or a car or a plane to get there, but just get there. So thank you, Lauren. I really appreciate this. Now you can go shower.
Yes, I get.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for letting me come and talk to you guys.
Of course. All right. Bye. Have a great day.
You too.